Welcome to the Leadership Surgery, where we operate on your biggest leadership challenges. You share your pain points anonymously if you prefer, and our surgeons will diagnose and dissect before offering recommended treatment. Scrubbing in today, we have Anthony Taylor. Hello, my friend.
Hello, sir. How are you?
It's good to see you. I'm doing very well. Are you doing well?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm pretty good. Thank you. It's Friday, so, looking forward to the weekend.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I've got a quick question for you, Anthony, which is, what simple or small thing has brought you joy recently?
Simple or small thing. Two
We'll
springs
reflect
in
to
my
this
mind.
one.
Yeah,
Go on.
2 springs in my mind. One at 7 o'clock last night was McDonald's cheeseburger on the way home from a long day working.
Ooh,
God, what a guilty pleasure.
nice.
But
Nice.
the other one was a nice voice note I got from somebody, having done some work with them. And I think it was just a voice, rather than just a text message or an email, just hearing just a voice note on WhatsApp. I just think that hearing somebody's voice rather than just the text bit just sort of stood out for me. So that was very appreciated.
Nice.
So that brought me a bit of joy.
Nice.
Excellent.
Nice.
Love that. Also welcoming Sally Bryce. Hi, Sally.
Hey, how are
Great
we?
to see you. Yeah, I'm doing well. Are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. Again,
Good.
it's Friday, so all is good. I'm seeing some university friends today. We are meeting up after 30 years of starting uni together. So we met once this year, and this is our second time. So yeah,
You're not
feeling
finished
good.
after 30 years.
Pardon?
You've not finished uni after 30 years.
I know it's taken me a while. Felt like that was my maths
it's
GCSE.
really
that
hard,
took me
Ant.
5 times.
Oh, that's nice. That'll be really good.
Yeah,
And I'm just going to add in, you must have gone to uni when you were 6.
well done.
Scoring brownie points. What simple or small thing has brought you joy other than my comment there?
Well, that was a very nice start. Do you know what brings me just this time of year? I have recently kind of gone redder with my hair. I think inspired by the autumnal colours. Whether it's driving or walking, it's just so beautiful. And I think, you can be so busy sometimes, can't you? But just to kind of stop and take in what's going on around you, because it's pretty wonderful nature. And I feel like I'm at the autumn of my life as well, or certainly the coming towards the end of summer. And I think it's a really beautiful period in nature, and so should it be in life. So yeah.
Lovely. Oh, beautiful reflection.
Love it.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Very poetic, that. Very poetic.
Well,
She does it from time to time. Mr.
Yeah.
Dan Fitton, scrubbing
Good
in
morning.
also. Great to
morning,
see you,
everyone.
Dan. How are you doing?
Really well, thank you. Yeah, all good. Yeah.
Still settling into life as a parent of 2?
Yes, it's going really well. I think we figured out routines, and the morning routine in particular. Anybody out there who's got young kids and a dog, knows what I'm going through. So yeah, just trying to get out of the door on time is tricky. But yeah, we're getting there. Thank you.
So what simple or small thing has brought you joy?
There's a lot of joy in my life at the moment. But there's one thing which stands out in particular is my 4-year-old has figured out how to work our smart speaker. So I heard him the other day say, "Alexa, play Bruce Springsteen," and that is just
Oh,
me.
wow.
Yeah, exactly. As people may have heard from previous episodes, I'm a huge Springsteen fan, and to hear that Otis, my little boy, is jumping on the bandwagon as well was amazing. I mean, Alexa doesn't listen to anybody in our household. I don't know if you have the same problem.
Yes.
She probably played something completely different, but just to hear that was a moment of joy and triumph for me.
Oh,
So,
Nice.
lovely.
Oh, very
winning
lovely.
at parenting, that is.
Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely. Very good.
Thank
Very
you.
good. I'm going to choose my moment of joy to be, as you know, I arrived home from a trip very late, last night, early this morning, actually, with a massive delay. And my moment of joy came from my taxi driver, Sam, who called me. It was about 2:30 in the morning as I was waiting to be picked up. And he called me and said, "Hi, Paul, I'm just around the corner, my friend." And I was like, I just needed to hear that. I needed to hear that reassurance after hours and hours of delays. And it was very, very satisfying to hear that. And then he let me just sit in the back and be quiet and just, have a little doze, which was great. So Lots of joy in our lives. Sadly, that's not necessarily the case for all of our leaders that listen or get involved in this podcast in one form or another. We have a patient here who's submitted a challenge. Let's listen to what they've got to say. Hi, everyone. I'm Emma. That's not her real name. And I've been with this organization for 10 years. I've seen plenty of people come and go during my time, but I've never had any desire to leave. However, recently, something has changed. I'm not really engaging anymore, and the decisions that the business is making don't align with who I am and what I stand for. I'm feeling more and more isolated with each passing day, and I just don't feel at home anymore. Is this a phase that everyone goes through after a decade in the same place? Or is it something more? Do I not belong here anymore? I don't know how to deal with what I'm feeling, and I'm concerned that I might be jumping too quickly or even staying too long. And I really don't want to let my team down. What should I do? Thank you, Emma. Well, thank you, Emma, for submitting this interesting challenge and scenario, which I'm sure will resonate with lots of different people. Guys, what symptoms are we picking out here? What's jumping out at you from what Emma has shared in her challenge, difficult scenario? Maybe one or two, maybe all of us have been in a similar situation at one point or another that have led to moving on, perhaps, or even staying and seeing it through. Dan, what are you thinking?
I think the thing that resonated with me as Emma's problem statement was read out there by you, Paul, is this ideal of feeling isolated. And sounds like it's probably the first time she's felt this working in this organization, an organization which, if you've been there for 10 years, will have aligned to your values at some point. Otherwise, you wouldn't do 10 years there. I truly believe that. So this feeling of something changing and feeling like she doesn't fit anymore, and this, I don't know, I imagine this sort of gut feeling, this almost a little sickness in the stomach every day she's going to work, and this feeling of being withdrawn and isolated that needs to be addressed as soon as possible, just because that will get worse and worse and worse and worse. And I think that's, we were talking around a long path to, starting to feel really down and not wanting to get out of bed to go to work and those kind of things. And I think, that's the bit that resonated with me, this symptom of I feel isolated and I feel like and she says belonging as well. Belonging is an important word as well.
It's an emotive word as well.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's not just, there's something, I think belonging is a very personal term to use. I'm also noticing how often she says anymore. And that's not me critiquing your writing, Emma. That is, it's just noticing that there is clearly a shift. And if you're saying anymore, as in, I'm not feeling this anymore, or, do I belong anymore? There is a sense of, I used to, and now I don't. And there's a clear distinction in your own mind there where you're thinking, this is, something has shifted, as she said. And?
Yeah, I can speak to this. I haven't been in an organisation that long, but I do remember being in an organisation and then feeling that similar thing shifted for me after about 3 years. And I think for Emma being, 10 years in, our identities change over a period of time. 10 years is a long time. From 20 to 30, your thinking and what is important to you and all that kind of stuff at 20 is very different at 30. So I just wonder whether her identity and her values have changed and now don't fit when perhaps they used to. So it's not maybe the organization's changed. Maybe Emma has. And that's absolutely fine. That's just part of being a human being. It's part of being on this journey of life.
Yeah, and if we look at the last 10 years in the work context anywhere, right? I mean, everything has changed, hasn't it? Nothing is the same, arguably, from 10 years ago to what it is today. So much has shifted.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I was just going to say, in my corporate career, so I kind of had a corporate career about, I think it was nearly 25 years, and I worked for 4 organisations during that time. So I didn't move around loads, but I definitely did move. And I suppose the way that Emma's coming across and the way that she's articulating it, it sounds like this doesn't feel great to feel how she feels.
Yeah.
And while I don't want to kind of dismiss that, because I think it isn't always great when you feel wobbly, it's good to ask yourself questions about whether you're in a relationship, whether you're in a workplace. After a period of time, things can become stale. And this isn't me saying that Emma should go or should stay. I'm just saying it's not bad to question and to your point, and to think about who you are at this point, what's important to you, what are your values, and to use that as a way of either reconnecting and reinvigorating yourself where you are, or, if it really feels, having done that it's not the right place, that you then have more clarity about what you're looking for and when you go. And I think the other thing I was going to say is, I think a lot of the time, maybe when I did my first couple of moves, I wonder whether I kind of felt like I was being loyal and I should stay because I was masking a bit of a fear about actually going. And because it's quite brave, isn't it? Put yourself out there, go for interviews, do your CV. It takes work. You think, oh, I'll just stay. They need me here, and it's not the right time, and all those kind of things. So I think my kind of takeouts is it's not bad to have a wobble. It's okay to ask yourself some big questions, because in that, ask yourself, what's really going on right now?
Yeah. There comes, I think, when we do that, a sense of realignment, doesn't there? Because you so easy get on with the work that you're doing, the job that you're employed to do. And yes, there are times when you're really enjoying what you are doing day to day. And there's times when that's harder or not so enjoyable for a variety of reasons. But even as you say, in the good or the bad, asking those questions of yourself, taking stock of where you're at, and just checking in on, is this what I want to be doing? Is this where I want to be? And even why did I come here in the first place?
Yes.
And is that still my goal, desire? Is that still what I want? Or actually, if things shifted, because as you say, things do shift, and you don't want to punish yourself for that.
No.
Just thinking at this from another side of the coin, she mentions things have changed in the organization. Or have they deliberately changed? And what I mean by that is, have their values changed as an organization, and she no longer aligns to those values, or have the values stayed the same, but the company's starting to drift away from what they stand for, and Emma's starting to recognize this? Because I think there's definitely two different things at play there. And is Emma, could she be in a position to start challenging that a little bit? And this company, which she spent a lot of time with and clearly has felt connected to at some point in her career, is there an opportunity for her to kind of steer the ship back to where it came? And I know it's a big ask. We don't know necessarily how big the organization is that Emma's in, whether she has that kind of influence or not. But is there something where she can start holding maybe some of her senior leaders a bit more to account and calling out, hold on, our values and mission statements are here, here, and here, and we're not following that, or I'm not seeing that in the organization anymore, and I want to challenge that. So is there an opportunity there for Emma to kind of reconnect with the organization through that as well? Just looking at it from a different side of things, instead of just trying to work through this wobble and realign the company to what that should be and to what she feels is right.
Yeah.
You just made me think as well, another type of fear, because I think you're right, Dan, that, it's a really good kind of thought process, but my head went down. Maybe she has already realized that the company is drifting and it's not kind of, aligned to the values it said it would be and to hers. And again, another element of fear is she doesn't want to have to challenge all the things you just said. It's like, do you know what? It might just be easier to go.
I know,
and go
it's
somewhere
tough
else
to do that. It takes some courage, doesn't it, to do those kind of things?
It does.
In both ways.
Do you think? Sorry, go on, Sal.
I was just going to say, I think what I would say, if that is the case, just a note of caution from, the grass isn't always greener, somewhere else. And there will be pros and cons. I know, like I said, having moved 4 times, I went on and there was like, oh God, this is great here. And oh, I didn't realize that would be the case here. So there'll always be that. And I know it's a bit cliched, but the grass is greener where you water it. And so to your point, if things are, you are going to have to tackle difficult people, you're going to have big conversations. So, if you're, to Dan's point, that is happening, the best thing that you can do is become skillful at how to deal with that. And I think, a good question to ask yourself is, if you met yourself, how you are now at the beginning of your career, would you be proud of the leader that you've become? Would you say, yes, I'm tackling things, I'm going for stuff, or have you become a bit small and kind of in the 10 years, you've become a little bit complacent and a little bit safe and therefore aren't either challenging or aren't really owning up to, I want to go, but I'm too scared to go?
Do you think it's a necessity? Was edging towards thinking about some recommended treatment, I think, here, which is good. Do you think it's a necessity to ask those questions?
I do.
About before jumping? Because when I'm reading Emma's situation here, she says that something's changed, I'm not engaging, but then she says that the business, the decisions that they're making, they don't align with who I am and what I stand for. She seems to be there already. Do you think it's a necessity to, try and make a change, even if it's small in some way, try and make the change to see what can be done before deciding, I don't think I can make any change at all, and therefore I will go? And
yeah, I think for me, there's enough signs there to think there's enough changing with her to ask some of those deeper questions first.
Yeah.
And my course, you talked about leaning into recommendations, Paul. My course will be, I think she's better off working with somebody to help her ask those questions, and not somebody who knows her. I would suggest a coach.
Yeah.
Somebody can help her think it through with no judgment, no agenda, none of their own fears about, I think you should do this, I think you should stay, or because family and friends can bring in their own fears and insecurities as she speaks to them. I think there's enough clues there that she's changing, has changed over these 10 years.
I 100% agree with what Ant's just said, and was what I was going to chime in before you went to Ant, is there is power in self-reflection and asking your own questions to yourself, but I think there's more power with being coached in this kind of scenario, whether that's to start off with what's important to you from a values proposition, what's important to you as values personally, but then also to help you unravel this. I'll use the word tangle, this tangle of emotions and feelings that you've got, and just to get some clarity. Yeah. And it might only take one session just to, to get to that. It might make more, and then that can continue then. Yeah. With any other decisions around, right, okay, well, I've made the decision. I know myself better now. I want to move. Okay, well, how can I help you? What can I do to help sort you through that? So I think, 100% echo what Ant says.
The only thing and I think, look, it's a great suggestion. So, and I think you're right. Sometimes, it's even, I've done coaching sessions where I've hardly said anything because people have talked out loud and then almost gone, do you know what? I think I know what I need to do. And you go, okay, great. Through the course of the conversation. The thing I was just going to say about coaching, because for some people it's like, well, I haven't got access to a coach, but I think my middle ground would be, I think you're right, Ant. Maybe steer away from people that are too close to you because they might be biased. If you can't, you haven't got a coach maybe internally in the organisation, or you haven't got access to somebody like that, maybe think about, your network and maybe, so for example, in my personal boardroom, and I think we've talked about that before, that, if you're almost the CEO of your own life, you should have people around you that make up your own boardroom. I've got people that I've worked with in organisations from years ago that I think could play the role of, a coach and ask me some of those great questions. So I think, depending on what you've got available to you, draw on other people to help you have that conversation, but it could be a professional coach, or it could be a great previous colleague or mentor. Go on, Dan.
Here's a question, and I don't know how it's going to land. Particularly, I'd like to answer Sally's opinions on this. Is if I want to get into this idea of being coached, but I'm a bit scared of it, would you recommend some sort of AI to start the journey? So prompting to ChatGPT or to Copilot or Google Gemini, and saying, I'm dealing with this issue. Can you ask me some questions about help me unravel it?
Go on. I think AI is a next level up of self-reflection because you can ask some thought-provoking questions. What AI won't do, whereas a human coach will, is read the emotions on your face and your body language, is hear that in your tone of voice and your answers. And it's as much about articulating it out loud as it is thinking it through in your head. And you won't articulate out loud to an AI generated. So AI can be great for transactional level stuff. It cannot go deep enough.
Yeah.
And I think Emma here is deeper stuff. It's identity stuff and value stuff.
Yeah, I was just thinking that it's, and I know you only wanted to see Ant and Sally on this, Dan, but I'll chip.
No,
Feel free.
I said Ant and Sally because of their background experiences.
The problem with the AI is it's reliant upon what you put in, isn't it? And so if you struggle to articulate this in a deep emotive way that you can put into deep emotive words that are descriptive, then it's not going to pick up on the urgency perhaps that's there, or the real deep wrestle that you're having with the issue. Sally, what were you going to say? Sorry.
Well, I mean, for me, I think, look, if you've got nothing else, and that would be a starting point, yes, use it. I think to all of your points, I think, what I notice in the coaching relationships that I have, to your point, I mean, even if we did this, for example, and didn't see each other, it would just be different. We might still be able to have a good conversation, but it just wouldn't be as good as this. And I can note, I notice Dan's kind of tweaks or moves, and I'll go, tell me about that, or that seemed to make you uncomfortable, or whatever it might be. So I think you don't pick those things up. But if I was somebody that hadn't got anybody to reach out to, and I just wanted to be asked some great questions and get me thinking, then make that a good starting point.
And the reason why I ask the question is not everybody's great at self-reflection and don't necessarily know where to start with it. And I just think that can sometimes just be a little bit of opening the door to then realizing actually, it'd be great to actually go and speak to a real person for all those reasons you guys have just said.
And Ant and I are available should you want to.
I was going to say, do you want to?
Hey, shameless plug.
Shall we drop some links?
Please reach out.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth just on that, and you three people are wonderful people who I would recommend to absolutely anyone, and I mean that genuinely. But it is picking the right person is important, isn't it? Because I know, I was talking to somebody about this earlier this week. I know some qualified coaches, highly qualified coaches, some of them. And yet I would never seek them out because every time I talk to them, there always feels like this undercurrent of pushing their own agenda. Yeah. And I get really irritated by it. And it's almost like I've got all these accreditations and certificates and letters after my name or anything like that. And I want to push this to you and show you how much I know and how much I've learned and that sort of thing. And I just think, I want to run away from you. I don't want to be anywhere near you. I want someone who can just listen to me really well. To your point, Sally, actually sometimes listen to me rant through whatever my issue is to the point of where I might just fix it for myself. Yeah. And if I can't, then they'll ask some great questions, or possibly on invitation only, they may offer me some really valuable advice as well. Yeah. So getting the right person.
Definitely. I think I would say, look around, a bit like dating, look around, do chemistry calls, go and speak to 2 or 3 coaches and do your homework, figure out the one that works for you, because one that works for you might not work for somebody else.
Yeah.
And to your point, Paul, sorry, very quickly, don't assume that just because they've got lots of accreditations that they're a good coach. Because I know some brilliant people that have got no accreditations and are just natural born coaches.
Yeah, I was just going to flag up as well, coming back to Emma's specific scenario. She mentioned about not letting her team down. Clearly she feels a real connection to them, which is lovely and great that's there. But also I wanted to just stir that a little bit by saying, you owe the company nothing, Emma. You owe them nothing. Neither do they necessarily owe you anything either. But it's trying to get some of that and I think this is where coaching can be beneficial. It's how do I get some rational thought in and amongst my emotional thought, which is not always easy thing to do, particularly when you're self-reflecting, and somebody else can help you to navigate some of that. But don't, just because you've had 10 years there or 20 years there or however long, or even if you've only been there 5 minutes in a company, anyone can turn around and walk out. Actually, if you firmly believe this is not right for me now, don't worry too much about that major disruption. If you've done the journeying of wrestling with some of these questions, thinking it through, and trying to determine exactly what's right for you, then take that step. Yes, Al?
Yes, I completely agree with you. I think it's important to kind of stay true to kind of what you want. We're only here for a short time, not a long time. So, go where you want. Just think about how you leave if you decide to leave. Never burn a bridge.
Yeah,
and I'm working with one particular organisation. I won't name them. It's a really positive thing, actually. They have had a few people, I think, who are maybe have come off the apprenticeships, who've kind of gone into roles and then thought, actually, there's something better somewhere else, and have gone and have then come back. And part of the reason they've been able to come back is, one, I think because the organisation is quite mature about this and realises maybe people do need to go and test the waters. And two, because the people themselves have acted and conducted themselves in the right way. So I just think that's important to kind of leave it. Because also again, when I was going through moving around jobs, I got interviewed by somebody. I didn't accept the job, but then later down the line, I met somebody somewhere else. So, in lots of different guises, people pop up again. So I just think about your values and, what you do in terms of your goodbye and how you leave the team or the people around you, the work that you can do, how you behave in your notice period, all those things.
Yeah, leaving well is really, really
Leaving
important,
well,
isn't it?
yeah.
Really important. Just before we sort of stitch up, in terms of preventative care, is there anything here, do you think, that you can do? Perhaps it might be a case for Emma or for people who are just listening to this and are not in Emma's scenario, but avoiding getting to this point of where you feel really overwhelmed by it. Maybe it's something that could be done earlier. What do you think on, Dan, what do you think on preventative care?
I think get into the habit of self-reflection and finding time and peace to spend, even if it's just 10 minutes a day, even less than that, to be fair, and just thinking, right, what's important to me today? What things have I enjoyed about my job today? What things frustrated me? These little questions you can ask yourself, but get in the habit of it every day so it doesn't creep up on you. So you don't get to the point where all of a sudden you've got this horrible feeling of, I don't want to go to work today. I don't enjoy what I do. And instead, you can little course corrections along the way. So build that habit and the skills of self-reflection, and whether that's on your own, with support with other people, or through meditation, whatever it may be. These things which can help. Journaling is a great example as well. Yeah, that would be my first thing.
Yeah, Sal.
Yeah, I think there is a little bit. In a recent LinkedIn post, I talked about I don't like to refer to birthdays as years. I like to refer to them as levels because I think it sounds better. And also kind of almost that growth bit about each level should be kind of a progression. I think maybe, whether it's circles or however you put it, like have one around work, one around health, one around relationships, whatever you want. And I think every time you kind of reach that next level or birthday, however you want to term it, just do a bit of, how would I rate these out of 10? Am I happy with my relationships? Am I happy with work? And I think to that point, I kind of said at the beginning about it's okay to kind of feel you should be questioning stuff and make it a habit. And if your birthday is kind of a natural time to kind of just do that sense check, then you use that as an opportunity to just make sure as you level up that you're happy in all elements of your life. And if not, why not? And what can you do about it?
Yeah. And any additional preventative care thoughts?
Yeah, and so I think tapping into, I think, what Sal and Dan have said, I was listening to an audiobook on the way home that somebody recommended at this conference, and it's called The Gap and the Gain by a guy called Benjamin Hardy. And it's just interesting. The premise is basically it's very easy to look at the gaps of what we don't have. rather than thinking about the gains of what we have done and how far we've come and those kind of things. And it's got me to shift starting to think about my mindset a little bit. And I think sometimes in reflection, where I've been, where Emma's been, it's very easy to start noticing the gaps.
Yeah.
So I just think sometimes taking time to look at the gains, what we have achieved, where we've come, all those kind of things can help as part of that.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
don't get stuck looking at the gap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I just want to tag on to all that you've all said, because I agree with all of that. And I think it is really critical that we do those regular self-reflections. Just being conscious that emotions are fleeting. You know, they come and go. And that's not to say they're bad. You know, it's not a case of, we need all rational thought and no emotional thought. I'm not saying that. But being aware that sometimes when it's all emotional thought and no rational thought, that's when we make crazy decisions. That's when we make decisions that we regret. That's when we make decisions that actually have no foundation, and they end up tripping us up further down the line. So just being in doing that reflection regularly, I think that's what helps us to avoid. You know, it helps us to avoid falling into that pit of I've got to act now and I've got to do this, and just exaggerating, I suppose, the situation, when in reality it could be quite a straightforward journey out. Great. I think there's real food for thought there, I hope, for Emma and for anyone else listening. It's definitely something which I'd probably suggest we all go through at one time or another. We all have an element of this, don't we, in one sense? And depending on where we are and what we're journeying through, we'll feel it in different extremes.
Yes.
So definitely don't beat yourself up about that, Emma, and I hope that's been helpful. Great. Thank you, everybody. Once again, for those of you listening, please do like and subscribe, easy for me to say, to the LinkedIn page, The Leadership Surgery. We'd love to connect with you on there. Tell your friends as well about what we're doing here. We'd love to keep spreading the word and growing the reach of what we're trying to do here in tackling these leadership problems that you encounter day to day. And if you have a pain point that you would like to submit to us, please do so. Email theleadershipsurgery@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. We would love to diagnose and dissect what's going on for you at the moment and get into it together. But thanks, everybody. Great to see you all again, and we'll speak again very soon.